God the Artist by Angel Morgan. God, when you thought of a pine tree, how did you think of a star? How did you dream of the Milky Way to guide us from afar? How did you think of a clean brown pool where flecks of shadows are? God, when you thought of cobweb, how did you think of dew? How did you know the spider's house had shingles bright and new? How did you know the human folk would love them like they do? God, when you patterned a bird song flung on a silver string, how did you know the ecstasy that crystal call would bring? How did you think of a bubbling throat with darling speckled wing? God, when you chiseled a raindrop, how did you think of a stem bearing a lovely satin leaf to hold the tiny gem? How did you know a million drops would deck the morning's hem? Why did you mate the moonlit night with the honeysuckle vines? How did you know Madeira bloom distilled ecstatic wines? How did you weave the velvet disk where tangled perfumes are? God, when you thought of a pine tree, how did you think of a star? Morgan Huebner, grade 11. I chose the poem God the Artist by Angel Morgan. I chose this poem not only because of the poem, but also because of the author. The author was very inspiring to me because I looked her up and it said how she was constantly in a financially bad situation, but she always wrote very happy or good poems and not really depressing poems. So I found that really inspiring. Also because the poem asks questions about how all these things in the world came to be, and I'm always wondering about that. Especially I can relate to about like when I was a kid, when you ask questions like why is the sky blue and why is the grass green. So I like that it brought those questions back up. Also because I love nature and I like being outdoors, and I just wanted a poem that represented that. And I still ask a lot of questions, and I found it I'm always curious, I guess, about like where all these things come from and how they're different and yet similar. Like a tree and a star, they're from the same universe, but they're in like entirely two different worlds. And I just liked it because it brought those questions up for me and made me think, and I could relate to it so much.